Welcome, everyone, to episode 61 of the PBEFFECT podcast. I'm your host, Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
Kyle, this is going to be our last episode of the year.
I know.
I'm like super grateful for you. We've come a long ways since we started.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Our views have almost doubled since we started on average. Mm-hmm. And a large part of that is big thanks to you to sharing it. You're fantastic on here. You're always bringing good stuff, and appreciate it, man. Thank you. You've earned your own rep. You're out there. Yeah. Your name's out there.
Yeah, I was saying, I think this show has definitely been a blessing in my life and just helped me, meet other brands. And I mean, I'm helping set up a tournament right now in Japan, just from like meeting brands and meeting people.
Oh, tell us about that.
They're going to do a Proton Cup.
So a Proton Cup? Is this a PPA thing or just?
No. So they're setting up a new headquarters in Vietnam. I don't know if you know, but like Vietnam's blowing up for pickleball.
Okay.
So he's headed to Asia, and we were talking, and I got him hooked up with some of my contacts in Japan, and he's going to like sign big players. He's bringing money.
Oh, wow.
They're putting on a big tournament.
Proton is investing a lot of money.
Yes.
Like they're like the head paddle sponsor now. I saw that a big announcement for PPA. Like that's like some mill right there.
Oh yeah. They are definitely investing in the sport. Regardless of what you think about them, they're investing in the sport.
And I think you said they got a bunch of paddles in the works.
In the works. Like
we'll see what Proton does next year. As far as what we're going to talk about today, so we got our weekly update. You played an MLP event this week. We'll talk about that. We'll just quickly go through the PPA Finals winners. That was the last tournament of the year. We're just kind of closing out this podcast with the PPA this year. We're just going to take a break for the next few weeks, hang out with the fam, get ready for Christmas and whatnot. We'll probably start up again week into January or so.
Yeah.
In Kyle's corner, there's some really interesting news this week. Stuff. So we're talking about the PPA Challenger League, some new rules. So there's like one really big change, a couple of small changes, and then a weird one that we'll talk about in Paddle, Babble, and Gear. We're going to talk about shapes. I did a poll on Reddit that had some interesting numbers of like the percentages of shapes people use. We're talking about the Invader, which is your main now. I've been using the ADV Backpack.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have some thoughts on that. Right. And then Chorus Shapeshifters and Prokennex has a paddle coming out.
About
no
time.
one knew about.
Yeah, it's about time. It's been a while.
So let's go into our weekly update. Tell us about MLP.
Well, MLP was great. So I played MLP 18, Duper 18. So obviously 4 people have to add up to 18.03 or something was the max. Whatever.
That was the max. What did you guys get up to?
Like right there.
Okay.
So I picked up Heidi was like a 4.93.
Okay.
Danny was like a 4.8. And then I had to pick up, obviously me being much lower at like 4.3. And then Duster, I think, was like a 4.3. So we were like right there.
People like to protect their dupers, but if you could actually keep it lower than what you are, it's such a big advantage for events like this.
Exactly. For that event, it's super good.
Were there teams where you're like, oh man, I feel like they're way above their rating?
No, it was the most competitive tournament I've ever been in, where like every game was close with everybody. Every team was close.
So it was a round robin format.
Yeah.
Then you did playoffs. I did an MLP thing probably 2 years ago.
It wasn't a full round robin because there was a lot of teams. It was like, so basically 3 pools, and every team played 3 full, like men's, women's.
That's a lot of teams.
It was a lot of pickleball. And then after that, the top 6 went into a bracket.
Okay, so how'd you do?
We lost in the quarterfinals.
So does everyone make it to the round robin, or do you have to qualify through?
No, only 6 of the teams made it through.
Okay, I think you said that, and I just didn't register it. So you qualified. What was your record in the pool play?
2-1.
2-1
for like total, like I don't know, like each match. I almost lost every men's match there was, but I almost won every single mix.
Well, it sounds like you had some really strong women on your team.
Yeah, the women were great. And then in the Dream Breaker, we had a team put men against our women, and they just stomped them.
Did they get to respond? Like you guys put?
Yeah, they responded to our people.
Oh, that's interesting. So they
picked guys to go against our girls. Bad idea.
For them or
for them, we crushed them in the Dream Breaker.
Is this not the quarterfinal match you're talking about?
No, this was right before. This was the last match of the pool play.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the quarterfinal. I was like, I thought you lost the quarterfinal.
No, the quarterfinals we missed the Dream Breaker by, I think we lost the last game that would have given us the Dream Breaker 23-21.
Oh, geez.
So everything was close. Like
Well, yeah, that's a fun day. Well, yeah, that's an interesting choice on the Dream Breaker. So how did it shake out? Like, did their men beat your women? You beat their women, and then
So the two guys, me and Duster suck at singles, so we were splitting points, or like I went 1-3 a bunch, but our women went like 4-0.
They were carrying you guys?
Yeah, their backs are hurt. Their backs are hurting this week.
I think that's a good strategy though, to pick really solid women. Mm-hmm. The New Jersey Fives did that for like legit MLP, and they made it to the finals for, like on Annalise back, and it's not a bad strategy.
That was like right off the second I saw it announced, I was like pulling up Duper and like, all right, which girls have high Dupers? Because I'm always I believe that the women are always the more important pick, especially when it comes to like mixed.
Yeah, big time. Well, cool. That's fun. You told me about that a couple weeks ago. I looked at it. And I didn't put much effort into finding
I don't think you could have played. What was your Duper?
I'm like just above 5.
Yeah, I think the limit, because they didn't get enough Duper 20 teams, so I think the limit is like 501 or something like that to play on an 18. Like it was still capped on the highest player you could grab.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like the Duper 20 didn't really fill out.
I knew it wouldn't. That's tough. There's not enough ladies to fill out Duper 20 teams.
That's true. Like it's trickier there on the women's side, because you could probably fill out like 2 solid teams, and then after that, it's a little murkier.
Well, a bunch of those ladies that you would see locally at a 20, they were all playing 18.
Gotcha.
I mean, Holly.
Yours had high Dupers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make it tricky, but it sounds like the 18 was super filled out.
It was. I think there was 10 teams. It was a lot of fun.
I know, like at the club at Flying Pickle, a lot of their open play, a lot of their stuff is designed for 3-0, 3-5, 4-0. That just seems to be the largest pool. You're going to get the most participants.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest demographic.
Yeah, that's the word for it. Last thing here for weekly update is I'm changing my codes. So I've been using 10effect for a long time, and that's the majority of the brands I work with. My code is 10effect, but there's a sprinkle of a few that's like 15effect, 20effect, and different things. And I just wanted everything to be the same. If you want to support Pickleball Effect and you're at a website and you're trying to think, what is Braydon's code for this place? Having different codes like that
nightmare
makes it tough, even if it's only a few. So I've been contacting all the brands. I'm changing my code to PBEFFECT. So it's going to be PBEFFECT across the board, no matter what the discount is. That way it's easy to remember. If you're ever on a website, I most likely have that as a discount code. So just type in PBEFFECT.
Just try it.
Just try it. And so it's been a pain in the butt. Like it's been really hard getting this orchestrated across everyone. Everyone's been super helpful, and I'm gonna have my old code run concurrently with PBEFFECT. So it'll take me a minute to go and change everything on the website, and obviously 10effect is in a lot of my videos still, and so those will run concurrently. But I'm gonna start pushing PBEFFECT now moving forward. But that's one of those things where you just have to just do it, just bite the bullet.
Yeah, it'll
pay off in the future.
It'll pay off in the future.
All right, let's quickly go over the winners for the PPA Finals. So this week was the finals for PPA. So PPA players have been accumulating points at tournaments all year long to qualify for this event. I believe it was the top 6 males, females qualified for doubles, and then maybe for singles. Was it the same? No, it was 8.
Yeah, I think it was less. Was it 8?
I think because they had 2 pools of 4.
Okay.
So they had 8 teams. Yeah, 8 teams total for each whatever you call it, discipline. Division, yeah. And so did you watch much of that?
I didn't get to watch Championship Sunday because I had a bunch of stuff going on, but I got to watch a lot of stuff leading up to it. Like Tyson's performance was pretty awesome. Way to come out, way to end strong.
On fire those first couple days, and then laid an egg in the semifinals.
Then his age caught on.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good. Like he beat Ben, he beat Connor Garnett in the pool play. He went in as the number 1 seed. Yeah, lost to Hunter Johnson, who ended up winning.
Yeah,
Hunter. That was kind of the surprising. Like if I was looking at the pools and I was betting money on who was going to win each pool, I wouldn't have put. I mean, Hunter's been solid, especially the second half of the year for men's singles. But I feel like he was an unlikely candidate for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I think most people put money on
Staksrud, right?
Yeah, I would say Fed. Fed Ben. And I guess, I don't know. Hunter has been his last.
He's been consistent.
It wouldn't be a terrible bet.
No, it wouldn't be
But it
terrible.
definitely wouldn't be the majority bet.
But like Fed just seems like the automatic,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
He won men's singles. Anna Lee, of course, got the triple crown. She won all 3 events. She's really good at pickleball. And then men's doubles had a kind of another semi-surprising win. It was Staksrud and Patrick Quinn who win the finals there. Hayden, he's going to be a force next year.
Hayden and Gabe are like the X factors in men's pickleball right now.
Dude, they really are. Like a lot of the upsets this year have had one of them involved.
Yep.
And so, but they don't have consistent partners.
No.
They hop around a lot.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
So I wonder what their plan is next year. I would think that they're getting asked from people all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They got to be hot commodities right now. And Tardio was in the finals with Johnson. Like it was Tardio and Patrick Quinn in the finals. People, Patrick Quinn plays both sides a lot. I wonder if Tardio and Patrick could just play together. Although I think Tardio and Johnson are going to do a lot next year. I don't know. It'll be interesting. And then Parento and ALW win women's doubles. So there's your finals. Congratulations to them. That's a big deal. I think they won some money.
There's a lot of talk of should ALW move on from
Parento?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think whoever Anna Lee picks, like if they're in like the top 10, they're still going to win. So I think I don't think she needs to move on, but I feel like if she did, that she'd still win.
You know, that's actually interesting because they've been getting pushed by Rohrbacher and Bright. I can't remember. Yeah, they went to 4 games. I wrote that down here in women's doubles against them, but they've lost them a couple of times. And they're just crushing everyone else. It seems like.
Oh yeah, they steamroll most
other teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, they win in 4, but they were tight games, and they always push them. And she can't get. I don't know. Like if she asked Rohrbacher or Bright, do you think one of them would say yes?
Oh, so that actually got brought up, and everybody said that there's no way Anna Bright would do it.
I don't think they would split up. Like they got a good thing going.
Yeah,
they got there together.
They got their trademark name. You know, the girlies.
Yeah,
like they're a unit.
Yeah,
I don't know if they would split.
I mean, they're still winning the majority, but like if you were to pick someone outside of Parento, like who do you pick?
Tyra. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously lots of really solid women. I don't know if there's one that brings that much more to the table.
There's none that like stand out to me. That
maybe
I would
Georgia or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Georgia wants to push burn her own path too.
She and Lacey Sneeman did the finals together, and they had a lot of great wins.
Yeah,
they made it to the finals, ended up losing. No, they didn't. Did they?
No,
they didn't make it. They made it to the semis. They made it through the pool play.
Yeah.
People didn't think they were going to make it through the pool
and
play.
they beat Anna Lee in the pool play.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, so that was a fun performance from them. All right, Kyle's Corner.
All right, what do we want to talk about first? Let's talk about something interesting that just got brought up. It's not on the notes. It sounds like Fed will be going to Adidas.
Oh,
you heard it here first.
Really?
You heard it here first.
Fascinating. Okay. Is Adidas going to come out with new paddles?
Yes,
they're going to need to.
Yeah. No, I was the first. The person that told me this, I was the first. I'm like, I hope they're coming out with new. They're like, oh, they are. Like,
was this like a secret DM like Fed to Kyle, or was this out in the open and you found it somewhere?
It's not out in the open. I can't disclose how I got this information.
You got your secret sources here.
But I heard that Fed wanted his own signature paddle. Yola's not doing it, so he's moving on. That's kind of what I heard.
That's what he wants. He's good enough.
And he already rocks a bunch of Adidas stuff anyway, so I think Adidas is just makes sense. So I think Adidas is just going to have, it'll just be
Rafa and
they
don't have a female
Fed.
player. They need a female player.
Yeah, they do.
They
need good paddles first.
Okay, all right. That's a big investment. He can't be cheap.
No way. I'm sure.
You think they're selling enough paddles to pay for Fed?
I'm sure they sell enough shoes to pay for them.
True.
Adidas, like the barricades, like those are still one of the most popular court shoes.
Yeah, I own a couple of pairs of Adidas, and I feel like they have some of the nicer like entry level shoes. Like you can pick up some of their shoes for $80 to $100. I forget the exact names, but those aren't bad.
Yeah. So that's the rumor.
Okay, that's a fun one.
It's a highly likely rumor.
A highly likely rumor.
Just like when I said Tyson was going to go to Yola, and everybody was like, "No, he's not." And he went to Yola.
You knew. Kyle knows. Kyle knows things.
All right. Close call replay. It's been amazing. Like the new replay system has been awesome.
Yeah, it has. The AI, the dot. If you haven't seen this, so line calls have been issues
Yes.
just plaguing the PPA for ages. And just like maybe 2 weeks ago, a couple tournaments ago, they introduced this new AI line call thing where it's a replay system. It shows the ball coming in. Like if you've seen tennis, their replay, how it comes in slow-mo and it shows the mark.
Yeah,
it's
I forgot they call that Hawkeye or Eagle Eye.
Yeah,
or something.
similar to that where it shows where the ball landed. It does like this over on top view.
Yeah.
It puts a little dot on the ball.
It shows where it will actually make contact.
Yeah, so if the dot overlaps the line at all, it's in. If it's not, it's out. It's super clear cut. There's no question.
Yep. So you have they have that nice camera system they put out, that AI. They're ending that contract
Why?
because the
so
PPA
good.
is going to do it in house.
They're going to build it themselves?
So I think what happened is they probably hired this company to do this. They watched how it's all done, and then they're just going to emulate it or try to emulate it. So we'll see what happens next. I know. I'm like, no IP protection there.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like they're going to go in-house. So we'll see what happens with line calls and video next year.
Well, I don't really care as long as it's the same or close to what it was, because it was so good.
It's so good that I'm like, we can't go backwards now. Like, I feel like once you've established.
Yeah, you can't go back.
No, that's
it's
how I
like we
feel.
had it. It was there. It was beautiful. We
Yeah.
did it. Like no questions, which is what you want. Right?
I'm such a nerd when I saw that AI line thing. I was like, yes, like this is so cool. I was freaking out about that. But so that happened.
So they have like a month to figure it out before tournaments start again?
Well, I mean, maybe they've been doing this the whole time. We don't know.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, they could have been doing this behind the scenes. I just got word that the contract's ending. They're not renewing it, and they're going to do it in-house next year.
So they had a contract for like 3 events.
Yeah, I guess. That sounds terrible. Or maybe it was like per event they had it contracted.
Maybe.
So, big announcement, PPA Challenger League.
This is a big deal.
This one's huge. And we're getting one in Boise at the Flying Pickle. It's been announced. Did you not see that?
No.
It is coming.
How do I miss this stuff?
It is coming to Boise. We are one of the stops.
All right, tell everyone what PPA Challenger is, because this is cool.
They're going to be $10,000 prize purse per event. These are going to be smaller tournaments that can get you berth into the main draw. So this is more aimed because the main draw and the qualifiers are getting huge. So this is a way for
like 60 plus teams sometimes in singles. It's wild.
Well, and I know some of the mixed doubles and doubles qualifiers are big too, not getting big, especially based on location. So this is a way for those teams to kind of break in a smaller setting.
Are they doing away with qualifiers?
No, I don't think they're fully doing away with them. I don't think totally. So
that has to be the end goal, though.
Well, I talked to a pro that said that you can still go to a PPA event and play in the qualifier, though. So I don't think it's totally doing it away with it.
But you can earn main draw entries
exactly
without going through qualifiers by going this route.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's that's a big deal. Plus, it's just a competitive league that you can use to train, and prepare, get better. Like
more events. You
could be a semi-pro dude.
They're coming to smaller locations that don't necessarily get big. Like we don't get big PPA events, so this is cool. Like all our local talent can go out there and smash people.
Yeah. It'll give an opportunity for local talent wherever they're popping up to go see how they stand up against the competition. I bet we get people or players who are younger who are going to travel to these.
Yep.
This is going to be their tour as they build up their skill set, get experience. This is what they needed. They tried this like a year ago. They had
futures.
They had futures. It was the same idea. So I'm sure this is built off of the backbone of whatever they had there. But they needed this, and I think it's a big deal and going to propel and just give an opportunity for future talent to get better and better.
And then any pro below the top 20 is eligible to compete.
Okay.
So we could see some bigger name, like I would expect
some recognizable names.
Yeah, like we might get some Utah people up here.
Okay.
For ours.
So and then it's a way to make a little cash while you're going along. Like 10,000 is no small.
Well, it's 10,000 total, so you got to split that between singles, mixed, men's, women's. So it's not huge, but a little bit of
something.
Money. Yeah, it's money.
You could potentially, if you're medaling at these, pay for your travel.
If you're like a lower level pro, you could just travel. Like if you can just win them all. And just stack cash.
You probably make more money that way unless you have some lucrative contract with the PPA. But those will probably get renegotiated. It's coming up.
Yes.
To a year from all the MLP craziness, and I imagine a lot of those contracts were a year long. So we'll see some renegotiations there. I didn't even think about that, but I'm sure several players will
lose. I think people will lose
and
contracts, and I think or just cut the amount since we don't have that tour wars going on now.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of inflation with those contracts.
Oh, big time. Okay, cool. What's next?
Ooh, what is next? Breaking the law. The Monarch from 11/6/24 is now known as the Pegasus because Monarch was trademarked.
That,
which is funny because I actually thought about that when I first saw the Monarch.
I think I remember you commenting about that.
I was like, can you name it that? But in the trademark database, I went and looked at it too. It is trademarked by the Monarch paddles, and it's basically the trademark is for
Monarch is a brand. Like they're like one of the OGs.
Yeah, but they're owned by like Dick's Sporting Goods. Like it's not a good brand,
but it's a brand. It's a known brand.
It is a very known. Almost everybody that like just starts out that goes into a Dick's Sporting Goods comes out with a Monarch.
Yeah.
So
they're the cheapest paddles I think at Dick's.
Yeah, and so the trademark is for pickleballs, pickleball nets, pickleball paddles. So you can't name anything Monarch.
That's a bummer.
So now it is the Pegasus, same shape that everybody loves. So if you bought one of those Jelly Bean Royal Burst Monarchs, it's a collector's item now.
It's now going to be a Pegasus Jelly Bean.
So that was cool. And then I think one of the last things with the Ripple got delayed yet again.
Dude, just Ripple. Never ends.
It's just like, I don't know. Why did they even put this out in the world? Like, I feel like it almost shouldn't have been like, so are people that are playing with it, should they be playing with it? Like that?
Technically, it's approved, right?
But then why is it not releasing? Like, I'm so confused.
So for those kind of new to, who maybe haven't been following this super close, the Ripple, we've talked about the Ripple. Like, I think our first podcast mentioning the Ripple was 4 months ago or something.
Maybe even longer.
It was a while ago. And maybe not that long. I don't know. But it
feels like
it feels like a long time ago. And it just keeps getting delayed. They finally came out with a hard date saying December 6th. Mm-hmm. December 5th at like 6 a.m., he sends an email out to like reviewers and other people who are interested in the December 6th launch. Says, hey, we're delaying this. And like, what was the reason?
He can't get the core test results from USAP.
So he has verbal.
Yes. Well, that's the talk. The talk is he has verbal confirmation that the Ripple passed the new core test, which is the exit velocity test with the air cannon that shoots the holeless ball at it. So he has verbal confirmation, and I guess he has independently verified it as well, but he does not have documentation from USAP saying it was approved.
So he's asking for the official document.
Yes, which no brand has received yet.
No brand, period.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes. No, I talked to other brands. They have not received hard copies that they're just told it passed. But
so at first, we were thinking this was an issue just about Ripple, but this is all paddle issue. Like,
yeah, I think they pushed that core test out, and then I don't think they should have pushed it out when they pushed it out.
They're second guessing themselves now?
I think so. And that's another rumor. There's talk that the core test results are not directly reflecting like what we are getting with radar guns. Like they're not correlating.
Well, that's an interesting ripple in things.
That puts a ripple in the plans of USAP.
Oh my gosh. I just want this to end. I just want to have rules. I just want to play pickleball. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to move on from this topic, and it's just not happening. All right. Well, we'll follow that one close. So we don't know when the Ripple's getting released.
We don't.
Do you think he should just release it? Because he has permission.
What's
or whatever.
crazy is it's already out there. Like I see plenty of them. Like there's
I remember, tell me if I heard this correctly. He doesn't have the logo stamp for it. Like he's not allowed to use it yet. Like the new USAP.
Oh, is there a new stamp?
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking PPA stamp.
Well, because I have a picture. That's another thing. So the dual stamp is a thing. The Proton Project Flamingo
for UPAA and USAP
is stamped UPAA and USAP.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you sent that one to me.
Yeah, no, it's still the same.
If I remember, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was under the impression that there was some new stamp that said this has been
like core tested or something.
Maybe it's gone through the new process. I could be wrong there. Well, we'll keep a close eye on that. Last thing for Kyle's corner. This is Braydon's corner. I guess
this is Braydon's corner. That's good though.
I just added one note to hear your section because there's some interesting rule changes for 2025. There's one big change, one small change, and one weird one. So the first big change for 2025 is tournament directors can now opt for a rally scoring instead of traditional scoring for a tournament. So if I'm setting up a tournament and I'm trying to decide the format, I now have two options. Before I could only do traditional scoring, and now I can do traditional or rally. But it's not MLP style rally. It's different. You don't stick to your side. In MLP, you're right side, left side. You just stay there the whole time. This is rally scoring, but you do switch sides. So if you score a point, you'll switch and then you'll serve again, like traditional, like that. That way's like traditional scoring. But then you only serve once before you side out. If you score when the ball comes back, you switch sides before you serve. Do you always serve from the right side?
We used to do this. Yeah.
No matter what, the person on the right is going to serve.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
but you have to swap to get in the right position.
But you have to swap to get in the right position.
Yeah,
before
we used to do this during round robins when we'd have like not round robins. They were like scrambles when we'd have like 4 courts going at Hobble and like one game finishes and everybody goes to rally.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it was the same thing we used to do.
Yeah, but this is big news. Rally scoring is starting to become a thing. It is now an option. And then let's see, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Yeah, switch. And then directors can pick 11, 15, or 21 points. This, I didn't mind rally scoring when it first came out because we've done some MLP stuff, but I'm not really a fan of it now. It's hard to get into a groove.
You never get
serving
momentum
once. Yeah. The momentum
Yes.
that you experience with traditional scoring is just not the same.
Yeah, it just dies way quick. Like, because the thing, when you have 2 serves, you can build momentum.
Yeah, you can build
Or
momentum.
you make one mistake, it's just over. Yeah.
And there is a little bit of mentality, strategy element to being a little more aggressive when you're serving. You're trying to score. You might go for a little more to try to score a point, whereas you don't do that the same in rally, right? And yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I see the attraction to it for tournament directors.
Yeah, it's great for time. Like for timing your tournament, like it's the best thing ever.
That's the only reason why you would do it.
Yeah, it's definitely for the tournament directors, not for the players.
Mm-hmm. And so that I'm kind of bummed about it. I'm not crazy about it. It's fine in MLP in the team format because you do want to cook through that a little bit because there's so many games in a match, and they do play to 21. If you do rally scoring, I like 21 the most.
Yeah, I do too. To 11, it'd be over like instantly.
11's super fast. Even 15's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And anyways, that's now a thing. So is the future rally scoring only? Maybe for turn. I mean, again, I think it depends on the tournament and how many people are there and how fast you have to get a tournament done. Yeah, if enough tournaments adopt this, I could easily see this being just the norm for rec. It just becomes what scoring is. And so that's a bit of a bummer for me. We'll see how that shakes out. But if I had to take a guess, it seems like it's going that direction. All right. This was a small change, but still like worth knowing. So they changed the definition of what a volley is. So the original rule is if I reach into the kitchen to volley a dink, if I touch the ground with the paddle and then hit the ball, it's a fault because your paddle touched the kitchen before you hit the ball.
Okay.
Because they consider that part of the swing motion.
Got it.
So they changed the definition where the volley only, the swing starts after you make contact with the ball. So if I reach in, I touch the kitchen with my paddle, lift up, hit the ball, it's fine because I didn't touch it's only a fault if you touch the kitchen after you make contact. So maybe if you reach in, poke one, and then reflex down and touch the kitchen, that's a fault.
That's still a fault, yes.
But if you touch it before you make contact, not a fault anymore. I don't think I've ever done that or seen that.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
But it seems significant enough.
I don't typically pick up balls that low out of the air. So,
and then this was a weird change. Okay, I'm just going to read it to you because I just copied and pasted it.
Yeah.
They updated, maybe I should pull this up. Okay, the rule submission title was called Prevent a Paddle from Dominating the Sport. That was the title that they submitted to USAP to look at, and this got approved. So there's a section in the rule book about guiding principles of the sport to protect how the sport is played and what it represents. And this is the new phrase. They added 2 words. So the phrase goes, to preserve the unique features and rules of the sport involving the non-volley zone and two bounce rule, and to prevent one shot or one paddle or type of play from dominating the sport. So they're just trying to preserve these rules that make pickleball, and they added the phrase one paddle from dominating the sport.
And one shot. With like one shot, one paddle.
One shot was already in there.
Okay.
So one shot, some type of play from like they want to prevent those, to preserve the sport. They want to prevent those things from happening. And they added the phrase one paddle. It's like, what does that mean? It's so vague.
Well, like the one shot is obviously talking about like the spin serve.
Okay. That makes sense.
But what worries me is like type of play from dominating the sport. So like if everybody just starts hitting drives, we're just like, nope.
Stop. No more drives. No more drives.
Hitting the ball too hard is illegal.
You're right. And then even like the one paddle thing, like at what point did you determine one paddle is dominating the sport?
Well, that makes no sense because they already defined rules of what is allowed as a paddle. So like there's like that doesn't make sense to make that a rule. Your rules are the equipment standards.
Why do you think they added this? Did they think mod? Did they think something too juicy might just take over the game?
But they have the rules set forth that
to bring that back.
Yeah.
If that does become an issue, they can change.
Yeah, the equipment standards.
The equipment standards.
So like it's very confusing. Unless it's like,
here?
Well, unless it's just like the person reviewing this isn't the same person that's in charge of equipment, and it's just like a disconnect.
Maybe. Anyways, that was the weird one that was added.
Silly.
Okay.
Very silly.
Paddle, babble, and gear. All right. First point here is so we had talked about last week in our Paddle Awards pod about wide body shapes getting a resurgence this year. We're starting to see it a lot more. And we were debating on what % of people play with each shape. And we didn't know the answer, but we knew that wide bodies were starting to become a thing. So I went on to Reddit. I did a poll and just asked people what shape they were using. So there were 378 people that took the poll. So
that's not too bad.
No, not bad at all. I just went on ChatGPT. I was like, if there are 35 million players, what would be a
good polling number?
How many testers or pollers do you need to have like a high confidence level? And it said you need 385 testers for a 95% confidence level. So we were like six people off.
Yeah, you're there.
Basically there. So these numbers are likely representative of the larger population of pickleball players.
Other than the fact that it was on Reddit, so they're nerds.
Other than the fact that they were on. Yeah, maybe the sample wasn't completely random. It was nerd sample. Okay, this is representative of all the nerds out there. Did you see my number?
I didn't actually see the numbers yet.
So I didn't put these in,
you didn't put them in the
notes. If you had to take a guess at the percentage of elongated hybrid wide body, what would you say the breakout is?
I would say 50, 30, 20 elongated hybrid wide body.
Okay, that's a very reasonable guess.
Oh, okay.
But it's not that. It's actually quite different. So elongated was 35%.
Okay.
Hybrid was also 35%.
Oh, wow.
And then wide body was 30. It was like a pretty even split.
So they're even split now.
Very even split. Yeah, I was on the same boat as you. I knew that there was more wide bodies around. I still thought elongated was the most prevalent.
I thought so too.
But it's pretty even across the board, which is fascinating. So if I'm a brand and I see this and I only offer an elongated shape,
make all the shapes.
It's worth it to make all the shapes.
Yep.
You're missing 30% of sales if you don't offer one of these. A lot of brands still don't offer a hybrid, which baffles me.
All right, guys. So make all three shapes. That's your consultation from Pickleball Effect. We'll take a check for Christmas. Thank you.
Christmas bonus. Christmas bonus for both of us. You're going to make more money. We're going to make more money.
Let's do it.
But yeah, that was like very fascinating. And yeah, if I'm a brand, it is very worth going and doing that. The major brands haven't really picked up hybrids yet.
Yeah.
Selkirk, Yola, and particularly haven't. Engage released a couple hybrids. They're the only kind of bigger brand I can think of that was like bigger legacy, more established brand that has picked up hybrids. For the most part, it's been the medium, smaller size that have all picked up hybrid shapes.
That bigger brand that just sent us wide bodies, were we allowed to talk about that yet? I can't remember the dates on that.
What brand? Diadem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
they waited a long time before they made a wide body.
Yeah, they've been on the elongated train for ages. They've done some wide bodies before with the Icon.
Well, that was standard at the time, though, right? Was that a wide body? We'd have to go back and measure it. I don't know.
We talked about this.
Oh yeah,
in a thread with a bunch of other.
But at the point the icon came out, though,
technically a standard.
That was a standard.
Yeah. So we're now declaring that all standard / wide body paddles are just going to be wide body. So anything that's 16 inches long or shorter is just going to be a wide body. Everyone who references a wide body and or standard usually just lumps them together. They're like standard / wide body is like the category, and they play similar enough where you can just give them one name. So we're just going to call them wide bodies instead of standard. That way we have 3 categories. We have wide body, hybrid, elongated. Elongated is 16.5 plus.
Yep.
Hybrids are going to be those ones in the middle between 16, 16.5, usually around 16.25, right? So we have these 3 categories, and there we go. We have them.
I like it.
Get rid of standard. Standard, what a dumb word anyways. Is anything really standard?
Well, I mean, based on how long you've been in pickleball, like
like just in general, like the word standard.
No,
like,
it's
a silly word. It shouldn't exist. Nothing is standard. Okay. Going on to the next, we have the ADV Backpack. I'm going to pull this out.
Ooh. Where's mine, ADV? Just kidding.
Yeah, we got to get you one. I've actually been digging this. So
this actually looks pretty good.
When I was in Texas, Will had his, and I was like, okay, I want to try it out. You convinced me, Will. It looks nice. So I tried their original like duffel bigger bag.
Okay, I was gonna say this looks a lot smaller than the one I saw them advertise.
So they have 2 options. They have this backpack option, and then they have like their tour bag.
Okay, the tour bag looks huge.
It was huge, but I did not like the way the tour bag was designed. There's just a lot of like dead space that was hard to use. It wasn't like you had a lot of space, but it was hard to use at all. Just the way it was designed. It had like an annoying clamshell thing that I thought wasn't very user friendly and kind of a pain in the butt when you're at the court. So I wasn't big on it, which is why I probably just didn't think much of ADV until I saw Will using this. And while I love the kitchen bag, we both love the kitchen bag. If you are a heavy packer or if you like to put your shoes in your bag, the kitchen bag just isn't the best solution. No. And there's a lot of times I want a little more space just so I can stash more paddles when I'm going to the court. I usually use like a box.
Yeah.
And so sometimes
he uses just a cardboard box shoved with paddles in it.
And so I was like, it might be nice to have a little more space. Let's give this a shot. So, and I actually really like it. It's definitely bigger than the kitchen bag. It's a little wider, a little taller. And the first thing I like about it is you put I've never been big on putting my shoes in the bag because it takes up so much space. But when I put the shoes in this bag, I still feel like there's plenty of space in here. Like there's space behind to put more paddles. There's some space on the side. It has like a extra pocket here. Like putting the shoes in the bag doesn't take away from the other pockets and usability of the bag. So I like that. And I actually have shoes in here and I like having my shoes in there now, which is nice. So if you like putting your shoes in your bag, I think this is a great option. And plus it's a lot cheaper. It's like 180, I think, after code. I got a code with them because I liked it. PBEFFECT is the code.
There you go.
It has a lot more accessory pockets up here front.
Yeah, they're pretty big too.
Bigger. And then it has like a big accessory thing here that can hold a lot.
Nice.
The zipper goes all the way down if you want to access something at the bottom. The material isn't as nice as the kitchen bag.
No, definitely not as nice.
But the kitchen feels more premium.
This is like a nice, like, I mean, no, like a plasticky, but it's nicer than like a cheap backpack.
Yeah, like if I go buy a Yola bag or whatever, this is definitely nicer material, but it's not as nice as the kitchen.
No,
the kitchen's more premium.
Yeah.
And like the zippers and stuff on the kitchen are noticeably nicer. It's got some design quirks. Like it has 4 different zippers on the outside. And I'm like, what? Why?
Which one opens what?
Well, not like type of zippers. I mean, like they have this massive zipper and then they have like this coated zipper and then they have like a normal one. And anyways, it's kind of weird that way. Is
there a laptop sleeve?
Yeah, that's the laptop sleeve. And then the paddle sleeves here in the back. So I like that the paddle compartment is like separate from the main compartment. So it feels like there's more space here. And then a couple of nuances of things that are like a little annoying is like this just isn't as nice as the kitchen bag. I can fit my 40-ounce wallet in there, but it's super tight and bulky and like pushes into the main compartment.
Okay.
I wish this just was the kitchen design. Like I love the kitchen design.
That is nice.
This is really nice. And there's only one. Like if you have 2, I'm okay with 1, but some people like the 2. Anyways, I think this is a really good bigger option if the kitchen is just bag is too small for you, and it's a little cheaper, which is I guess more palatable that way. And anyways, a lot of good things about it. And the only other thing that kind of bugged me was like, oh, where do I put the balls?
Yeah.
And like it has this little sleeve right here where you can slip some balls in, but if you have a water bottle in there, it just makes that pocket like unusable.
Okay.
But on the side here, it has like this. It's like a cooler, but this ends up being the best spot for balls.
That's where you keep your Miller Lights, Tyson.
Yeah, put your Miller Lights in there. And anyways, I think it's a good bag. I think it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of like branded paddle brand bags.
Yeah.
Just because like if you switch paddles, all of a sudden you have a Selkirk and a Yola bag, and I don't like mixing brands.
Well, like we're different.
Us in particular, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for super brand loyal.
Yeah, there are people that love their brand. So then like if you want a giant Yola on your bag, I understand that.
But for the most part, I feel like that's not preferred, and it's nice having like I don't know what you call it, like a third party bag maker,
like somebody that actually makes bags.
They actually make bags. It's
not somebody that just has a bag.
Right. It's not just affiliated with other stuff. But anyways, minimal design, looks sharp. I think they did a good job on that. I think it's the best bigger option you can get, especially for a backpack. And I'll be endorsing them. I think them and Kitchen have a good thing going. But yeah, I still think the Kitchen is the more premium. And if you don't carry a ton of stuff, or
he has a cheaper bag coming out too.
Yeah, he's gonna do
I forgot what he called it. The Ranger, I think was something the name.
Yeah. So yeah, Kitchen's got some stuff in the plans. It'll be fun to see what they come out.
Lots of good bags coming to pickleball.
All right, let's talk Invader. The Invader is out. It's hitting people's hands. You switched.
I do. I love it.
Tell us what you like about the Invader.
I didn't play with it in the tournament though.
What? What did you play with?
The Power Series Hirache.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just because I wanted to, because I knew I was going to go out there blasting the balls at the ladies. So I wanted it to be. Well,
tell us about both then. Tell us about the Invader, and then I haven't played those yet. I ran like the swing weights and stuff on them, but I haven't done my normal testing on them. So take us into those.
I love the Invader because the Invader to me plays. There it is. Bam. One, it's gorgeous. It's purple. I like the purple, but that PET, like it still plays soft like the Shogun, but the inclusion of the fiberglass layer is what makes it awesome. Because
is it 2 carbon then fiberglass?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Carbon fiberglass, and then I feel like when you actually like get into a counter or like get into a drive, you actually get some of that fiberglass, and it's a little hotter. But then with the hybrid shape versus the elongated shape, like the swing weight's less. It's easy. It's more maneuverable.
It's a little higher for hybrid. Mine was 117, 118. Most hybrids are going to be around 115.
But it's still
manageable. Definitely lower than the Shogun. The Shogun's heavier at 122. I'm actually like this Shogun got really popular, and I was surprised the 122 didn't turn a lot of people off because it does for a lot of other brands. But Bread and Butter was able to avoid that somehow with their people just love them. But I also think that kind of speaks to maybe people put a little too much
weight in the swing weight.
Too much weight into the swing weight. Like maybe you can handle heavier paddles than you realize.
So. Yeah, and like I've talked about this with people. I still think that like balance point is like a big thing. Is a bigger thing.
You think so? Balance points. No, we haven't seen a paddle come out that's like intentionally changed with the balance point, other than the Gearbox Pro Ultimate. But they went the wrong way with it. They went higher.
They're like, let's make this feel like a club.
I think we'll see some of that this year. But no, I mean, obviously swing weight, I still consider it a factor. I still have a target swing weight that I shoot for because I know what I like. But I don't think 122 is unusable. Like I could go play with 122 if I wanted.
Yeah, I think unusable is like that one that was like 130 plus.
That's unusable. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely like a limit.
I think 125 is like really pushing it. That's heavy, but under 125, more people I think can manage that than they realize.
What would you consider too low? I'm trying to remember which one I swung that I hated.
Anything under 110 is.
I was going to say I think
really
it was 107. I have something that's 107 and I didn't like it.
You got to wait those up.
Yeah. But no, I like it. Great job. Looks good. I mean, he sent one to space, which was hilarious. All the typical bread and butter branding.
So another series that's coming out this week that's kind of like a competitor for this one.
Ooh, a competitor for this one.
It's like the Chorus Shapes.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have their...
I've been liking the SX, actually.
You've been playing these a little bit?
Yeah.
You like
the SX is the one
it's pretty control-oriented versus... These other two give you a little more. That one gives you a lot of control. This is the new Shapeshifter series coming out. This is December 14th. These are going to retail for $175. Code brings it down to $158. So they dropped down the price a little bit compared to the original Shapeshifter. They had like that double black diamond shape that... that paddle is what got them popular. John Q loved it. And he made some adjustments to these that I'm a big fan of. He made them a little lighter. That was kind of one of my complaints for it. It was a little heavier, and I thought that was kind of where the power was coming from, but it was a combination of a little extra weight plus the fiberglass layer. People are calling that the activation layer is the phrase I'm seeing.
I like that.
And I think that's kind of a cool phrase, that like third, whatever that layer is.
Yeah. Like basically you have to like lay into the ball to actually get that layer. Yeah.
And so these come out then. And the reason I say it's a competitor with the Invader is the HX is kind of the similar ballpark as that, where it's like an all-court paddle, similar shape. There is a little nuance. So the Invader gives you, let me pull up the numbers. The Invader was giving me, come on. My computer's wigging out. We're good. We're back. The Invader was like pretty even on the all-court numbers, like my power and pop. One wasn't, like my power was 73, pop was 65%. So it's just kind of like right in the middle.
Yeah.
It doesn't like excel in one or the other. It's just kind of good at both.
That's funny. I always like those paddles. They're just like right in the middle.
Yeah. So that one's a nice, like right in the middle. This one is a little more power, a little less pop kind of situation.
Okay.
Very similar to the Saga series from Vatic, but not quite as pronounced. The Saga was like a little higher and a little lower. This one's not quite as extreme. So it gives you just a little more pop, but not quite as much power. Definitely feels good. But they're launching with all three shapes, which I think is brilliant. And the swing weights on these look really good. They're all like, they're high enough where you can play them out of the box, but low enough where you can customize them if you want. So the EX, the elongated, was 115. I imagine
pretty low for elongated.
It's really low, but I imagine I got the lower end. It probably goes up to like 118. My HX, my hybrid was 114, and then the SX was 107.
Oh man!
So they're lower. Like you can play them. But definitely some room for customization there. And so I'm not doing a video on these, but I'm going to write something out because I think these are solid. But what was really surprising was the spin. Like the spin on these was actually kind of insane.
It was good, right?
Really good.
Yeah, like this 18K looks good and it feels good. Like
So I might be getting better at spinning the ball because my results,
all my numbers are going up.
My results on average have been a little higher the last few months, which is unfortunately part of the human error with these tests I run. But regardless, the EX had an average of over 2,100. Oof. I've only had 2 paddles do that.
It's almost at the limit.
Yeah, so that's super high. And the other 2 were close. They were 2070 and 2060. So both above 2,000, which I don't get a ton of, let alone that high in the 2,000. So these are very spinny paddles. And you could, like when I was serving it, you could see the dip. Like
these shape the ball well.
The shape, like you could visibly see the shape. And so that's part of the attraction to these is the really big spin. The spin on the Invader was good, but it wasn't quite as high as this one.
It was definitely less than that.
It was 1985.
Okay.
Like you're not going to be wishing for more.
No.
It's good, but these were just like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little something extra there. But yeah, those are all solid. What else we got going on paddles and gear? Bullet notes. Okay. Chorus Shape. And then Prokennex has...
Finally. When did the Black Ace come out? It's got to be 2 years ago.
Oh, man. At least a couple of years since the Black Ace. This is the Black Ace update, I think.
Okay.
So the only pictures I've seen of it have been on De La Rosa's
I was going to say,
page.
is De La Rosa playing with it?
Yeah, he's one of their sponsored guys. He's posted a couple images of the paddle, but I don't know anything about it. Pickleball Central actually messaged me and was like, hey, we want to send you a new Prokennex. I was like, they're coming out with a new paddle? Like, that was how I found out about it. It was from them like messaging me. I'm like, when's it come out? They're like, 2 weeks. I was like, what?
Jeez. I'm going to try and get one too then.
Yeah, so it comes out in a week and a half or so now.
Okay.
So that'll be an interesting one because the Black Ace made a lot of noise when it came out.
I hated the Black Ace.
Did you?
So much. It was, I mean, for its time though, it was like so hot. Like that was a juicy paddle.
Right. It was just so poppy and no one had seen that before.
Yeah.
It is niche though because it's so thin and edgeless, right?
Yeah.
But they do the cool thing.
Did it still have the kinetic sand in that one?
Probably. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while. Like it's been a long time.
You ever shake their paddles?
Yeah. I haven't thought about them in ages.
I know.
Like it's been a bit. Then you have a note here that Project Flamingo will be the first dual stamp paddle.
It was the first dual stamp paddle.
The Project Flamingo is
it'll be dropped.
Proton?
Yes. It's coming out. Oh man, what's the date? It's coming out this month. I can't remember. I want to say like December 27th or something, but it'll be out this month. I got some on the way.
Do anything about it?
It is the Series 3. So everybody's like, why are the pros playing with the Series 3? Because it's not really the Series 3.
It's the Flamingo?
They're all playing with the Flamingo that looks like the Series 3. So
Okay.
it's a foam paddle, like a Yola.
Okay. That makes sense.
Charles said when we X-ray it, we'll see they did a little differently though.
Oh, cool.
Because he knows we're X-raying paddles now.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll see when you guys X-ray it. It's a little different. But yeah,
Okay,
so it's their
okay.
paddle to compete with the Yola.
Are they going to charge $350 for it?
I didn't ask him what they're going to charge. That's a good question. I'm sure it'll be up there with. Proton's not known for charging. They're not budget paddles.
They're not budget paddles.
So,
Oh, cool. Good for them. That's kind of cool to be the very first
dual stamp.
dual stamp.
Yeah.
That's a little badge of honor right there.
Yeah. So, and then they got a new Series 1 coming out in February. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, but it's got a new different top sheet and then coated in nanotech.
All right. Proton's coming out with stuff. All right. That'll wrap us up for us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this year. It's been incredible. We really appreciate you all following along. We're gonna keep going, man. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We're not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. We'll see you next year.
See ya.
Bye.